for making it on time. We know more people will continue joining, but welcome. We're super excited with today's session at the National Applied AI Consortium. My name is Antonio. I co-lead the consortium. Cynthia, I see Samir, I see Habib, leaders of the consortium. We're super excited to bring this session today with one of our main partners. And for many reasons, overall, Google at large has been doing a lot of efforts, not only on AI, leader in AI, but actually of AI in education. And from different perspectives, we have been partnering with Google. We actually have amazing news that we're going to share next week, not today, on that collaboration with Google. But today, specifically, we are excited to bring our friends from Grow with Google and Google for Education to really share about the specifics of an initiative that they launched recently, specifically for academic institutions, higher education institutions, community colleges. And that has been on the news already. We have been sharing those news, but we wanted to have this info session to really explain what the Google AI Accelerator network is and how colleges can join and all the resources available. So I'm going to stop talking and really pass it to the experts. Rob, pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for joining us on this info session. So all yours.
Yeah, thanks so much, Antonio and Cynthia, and just for the amazing partnership with Miami-Dade College and Google. Multiple teams working with both the Google Career Certificates and AI training, but then also our workspace tools, which we'll talk a little bit about today. But really excited to continue to grow this and share some of the work that we're doing and opportunities for other community colleges that are in the National Applied AI Consortium network. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off some quick intros here. So I'm Rob Magliaro. I'm head of workforce and education partnerships at Grow with Google. And I'm joined by my amazing colleague, Drew. So I'll toss it over to him real quick for an intro before we jump in.
Thanks, Rob. Hi, everyone. My name's Drew. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. I lead the Workspace for Education group for North America. What that means is I lead a team here at Google that has this really phenomenal and unique opportunity to partner with, to learn from both K-12 and higher education institutions across the United States and Canada around all things workspace. And now as well, much of what we're doing with AI, with tools like Gemini for Education, Notebook LM, some of those tools I'll actually be demoing in just a little bit. So if you are interested in bringing Google tools to your organization, or if you're already using Google tools and you'd like to connect with the Google for Education team to better support your efforts and to learn from what you're doing, please do reach out. We'd love to connect. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you. Yes, we're super excited to be here. Thank you for your time in the middle of the day. I lead our AI training and Google Career Certificate program, which we'll get to at the end of the presentation. But I think the main highlight here is around our new initiative that Antonio mentioned at the top of the call, and then really want to get into some demos that Drew has. But to orient folks, here's our agenda for the day. We'll give an overview of the AI for Education Accelerator. We'll jump right into some tool demos and some of the Google tools that are available to your institution. We'll talk about the training that is also available through the accelerator, and then close up with some great resources and Q&A. If you have questions as we're going along, feel free to drop them in the chat. Drew and I will monitor the chat and tag team on that, and then we'll also leave some time at the end to make sure all of your questions are answered. So a quick overview, the Google AI for Education Accelerator is really about bringing the best of Google's tools and training to higher ed institutions across the country. So this is something that we launched in the middle of August. And since we launched with about 100 institutions, Miami-Dade College being one of the first, given our longstanding partnership. But we've since grown that to almost 300. So there's a ton of demand and interest in the accelerator. And it's an opportunity for everyone here to join as well, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. So Drew can go to the next slide. So just framing our conversation today, and I don't think this is news to anyone, but AI is evolving rapidly, and folks are finding a number of use cases from teaching and learning to administrative efficiency. And then, of course, businesses are increasingly using AI in their day-to-day. And as it applies to community colleges, there are really interesting insights into the emerging gap around AI skills. And so as you can see on the left there, students want to develop AI skills. I think I saw a stat this morning that well over half of students entering college have used AI tools, Gen AI tools, at least once, but are not using them frequently, which they will definitely need to do in the world of work. Because employers, as you can see in the middle there, are demanding and starting to use AI skills. In fact, many employers prefer to hire skilled talent that has AI skills rather than domain specific knowledge. So it's really important that all students graduate from institutions with a baseline of AI skills, which our team aims to bring. And then there's a gap in offerings, right? And so this is probably the wrong group to speak to, since you're joining a webinar in the middle of the day on how to bring AI training and tools to your institution. But institutions are increasingly looking for opportunities to bring AI tools and skills to their students, faculty, and staff. And so one of the things that we did was in August, we launched the AI for Education Accelerator. And essentially what that does is bring all of the best Google tools and training under one program at Google. And so I will cover later on our Google Career Certificates and AI training if you're not already familiar with those programs. And in a second here, we'll jump into AI tools that are available through Workspace, which is Drew's shop. And so all of these are available at no cost to community colleges across the country through our two different teams. And then the third component of the AI Accelerator is learning opportunities like this one. So we're collaborating with Antonio and his team at Miami-Dade to bring this information to you today. But we also are starting to kick off webinars. Some of you may have attended our EDU on Air webinar last week. But really bringing in best practices from both Google teams and from across the field so that you can understand how other institutions and experts are using AI and how you can start to deploy that right away. So with that, we will actually get into some demos and ways that you can start using AI with Drew's team. So I'll turn it over to Drew.
All right. Thanks so much, Rob. So let's get into it and talk about the AI tools that are available to community colleges, four-year colleges, and universities, as well as part of Workspace for Education. And as Rob has built this tremendous set of resources and programs around training and certification, one way that we want to make this a full circle, virtuous cycle type of program together with Grow with Google is by complementing the training, the certification, and the learning opportunities that they are curating together with best-in-class AI tools that are safe and secure. So if you are trying to drive awareness, learning, and certification opportunities for your organizations and for your communities, it's a perfect opportunity to pair those opportunities together with a best-in-class platform to provide safe, secure, and cutting-edge AI tools in a cost-effective way. And so on the Google for Education team, just to set the stage around the vision, for years, we've talked about these very high-level aspirational goals of what could we do to really positively impact education. And for a number of years, we've talked about these goals that felt very far off on the horizon. Could we build a TA for every educator, a tool or a set of tools that is there to help them preparing for their lessons, preparing for course discussions, understanding where students are, where students may need more support? Could we build a tutor for every learner? Could we build a set of tools that would be there to support that student on their learning journey? Maybe when there's not a student stakeholder or one of the educators or faculty members there to support them, could they have that on-demand, ever-ready, personalized set of tools to support them in their learning? And could we build as well an assistant for every education leader? Could we give education leaders insights across their entire organization to understand how things are developing, where students need more support, what's going really well, and where there may be opportunities to even further a student experience of their learning? And so we've thought about these things for years. They felt like they may be kind of far off on the horizon, but with the recent developments in AI, and especially generative AI, we now are able to do much of this today. And we recognize as well, it's still very early. We have a long way to go. So we're excited to partner together with organizations like yours to continue to learn what's working well and where we can grow together with you. So today, the two tools that we're really going to focus on that Rob highlighted briefly are Gemini for Education and Notebook LM. to just set a foundation and to help ensure everyone understands kind of how these tools are available, and as well what we are kind of building to ensure that these tools can be deployed in safe, compliant, and secure ways, and in ways that are cost effective. Both Gemini for Education and Notebook LM are available at no cost, meaning that if your organization uses Workspace for Education today, you can deploy these tools with just a couple of clicks in your admin console at no cost. If you don't use Workspace for Education today, you also have the opportunity to make these tools available through Workspace. For example, at Ohio State, Florida State, and a number of other universities that maybe hadn't used Workspace for Education historically, they're now providing Workspace for Education accounts across their campus, specifically because they want to provide these best-in-class AI tools. So if you are interested in making that happen, whether you have Workspace today or you maybe aren't using Workspace but are interested in providing a best-in-class set of AI tools, please do connect with the Google team. We would love to support you in that. And not only are these tools cost-effective, but they are developed specifically for education. They're grounded in learning science principles. One thing that we are so excited about is our best model, Gemini 2.5 Pro, incorporates what's called Learn LM, which is the world's leading model specifically built with pedagogy and learning in mind. So these are not just AI tools, but AI tools built for that bespoke context of teaching and learning. We also make these tools available in a way that is private and secure. As these are offered as Workspace for Education core services, that means that they're covered by the same terms of service as other Workspace tools like Drive, Gmail, etc. And we have guarantees for EDU organizations that chats are not reviewed by any humans, they're not used to train our models, not shared outside of your organization, etc. And we as well want to provide a great deal of admin control and visibility, ensuring that if you are deploying these tools, you have control over who has access to what. You as well have visibility into usage metrics. You have obviously compliance and security tools if any issues do arise. So if you are interested in bringing these tools to your organizations, of course, please do connect with the Google team. We're happy to dig much more into this. And to dig a little bit more into the security and compliance side, we are so proud that Gemini for Education provides really industry-leading compliance support. Gemini for Education supports compliance with a number of industry standards, third-party certifications. So if you want to make sure that the AI tools you're providing can be used in compliance with different certifications like FERPA, COPA, SOC, including SOC 2.3, as well as even HIPAA, FedRAMP, and more, you can use Gemini for Education with the kind of knowledge, with the security that these tools can be used in compliance with those industry standards. And so let's get into what these tools do. The first tool that we're going to highlight is Notebook LM. Notebook LM is really an amazing, amazing tool that you can understand almost anything as it becomes a personalized AI expert on the information that matters most, the information that either the student, you as an administrator, or you as an educator are uploading as you are building out that notebook. Something that we were just hearing yesterday from a large university in Florida is one of the things that most excites them is they're seeing students using Notebook LM as well as faculty and staff that want to further their learning as a true study partner. I know right now there are concerns which are very justified around how AI is being used, what's appropriate, maybe where AI shouldn't be used. And you'll see in just a moment, one of the things that's really amazing about Notebook LM is it is an absolutely phenomenal tool for learning, for studying. And so they're hearing from their students that maybe there were concepts in organic chemistry or economics that were really difficult to comprehend. But with Notebook LM, they're walking into class for that discussion or for that exam feeling much better prepared. And I think that's a really beautiful use of AI, not using it to do work or to do things that maybe it shouldn't be used for, but just to be there as a study partner and to further learning in a way that's grounded specifically in that course resource. As far as how Notebook LM works, as an educator, or let's say as a student, or as an administrator or leader, you create a notebook by adding sources. If you can attach something to an email, you can create a notebook. It is that easy. And as soon as you have added your resources, be that URL to a website or a YouTube video, docs or slides from your Google Drive, copying and pasting or uploading PDF documents, etc., Notebook LM is going to automatically start to analyze those sources and become an expert in that source material. you'll then start to see some things happening automatically, getting instant overviews, automatically generated summaries of that course material. And then you can start to engage with Notebook LM in some really exciting ways. You can ask questions, or you could request new content. One of my favorite parts that I'll show in just a moment is when you do ask a question, it's going to give you that answer grounded in the material that's been uploaded, including citations. So we know that there's a lot of thinking around, if we are providing an AI tool or an AI resource to students, we want to be sure that this is something that's grounded in the course material, that's not based on hallucinations, et cetera. So that's something that gives a lot of confidence, and it's really amazing to see it in action. But when you get those answers, having those citations built in that you can then click on and it'll take you right to that course material, absolutely phenomenal. And then you can use Notebook LM to create some really, really amazing resources, including things like FAQ documents, study guides, mind maps to see how different concepts are interrelated, audio overviews and video overviews, which can be generated in just a click of a button. Imagine if you could create a podcast about anything that you want to learn, even engaging with that podcast, ask questions by almost like calling in. I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. But absolutely phenomenal to see how Notebook LM can build and create content that can be really meaningful, really helpful when you are learning, and how as well those resources can then be shared and provided to students through even an LTI integration with some different learning management systems like Canvas from Instructure. So we're also going to talk about Gemini for Education as well, and I'll showcase some of the best-in-class tools there. But with AI, something I always say is that seeing really is believing. These tools are absolutely phenomenal, but it's almost more helpful to see these tools in action to really understand them. So let's get into it. I'll switch screens, and you'll be able to see these tools in action. And if you would like to follow along with me, please feel free to do so. I'll put the URL into the chat, or Rob, if you would like to. It's notebooklm.google.com. And if you'd like, you're welcome to follow along. So when you go into Notebook LM, it looks like this. I have dark mode turned on. Apologies if anyone doesn't like dark mode. I'll switch it to light mode as well. When you go into Notebook LM, the first thing that you'll see is you'll be asked to add sources. And again, this is very, very easy, but it's, I think, always helpful to show. When you want to add sources, you can do so in a number of different ways. You could choose to upload files. If you have a PDF, an audio file, let's say locally saved, stored on your device, you could upload those files, choose to select which ones. You can also go into your Google Drive, search through your Google Drive to find those Google Docs or slides or other materials from Drive that you would like to upload. You can also add links. So if you have, let's say, a URL from a website, a YouTube video, I'm getting ready for EDUCAUSE. I literally just uploaded the EDUCAUSE agenda and said, build me a plan, build me my calendar for what sessions I want to attend based on my interests. It did that just absolutely amazing. You can also just copy and paste text. And as soon as you do those things, it's going to start to generate automatically for you. Let's say you don't know what sources you want to upload, but you know what you're interested in. For example, you're interested in teaching macroeconomics. Always have trouble typing, of course, when folks are watching. But let's say we're interested in macroeconomics and we hit submit. You can also choose where you want to search. Do you want to search across the web or from your Google Drive? And I hit submit on macroeconomics. What Notebook LM is going to do there is it's going to identify sources that it thinks would be helpful for me to build a notebook based on macroeconomic principles. So you'll see it's finding macroeconomic principles website from Wikipedia, a Principles of Macroeconomics textbook from OpenStax, looks like some general assessments of macroeconomics from the OECD. And of course, I can always open these things up to dig more into them, to learn, are these materials that I'd like to upload? And then you could choose, do you want to upload specific materials? Do you want to upload all of them? And with just a couple of clicks, you've created a notebook. It is that easy, just absolutely amazing. So to show you what it looks like when I have a notebook already created, I'm going into this Principles of Macroeconomics notebook that I've created. I built this using a textbook from OpenStax about macroeconomics. I as well found a few lectures from like MIT on YouTube about macroeconomic principles. And with just a couple of uploads, 4 sources, I built this macroeconomics principles notebook that I can now share. Sorry, I wanted to get off of dark mode there. And the first thing I'll show is that you can now start to ask questions. So you'll see it gives me some example questions, or I could type my own. This seems like an interesting one. How do central banks execute monetary policy and management systems, and manage the banking system? I'm sorry. So I asked that question, and now what Notebook LM is going to do is it's going to answer that question, but it's going to answer that question specifically based on the materials that I have uploaded. So you'll see this question start to populate an answer. And as I had mentioned in the overview, one of my favorite things is that you'll start to see these citations. So let's say I'm interested in this contractionary, tight monetary policy, raising interest rates, et cetera. I hover over this citation number 8. And if I click there, it's actually going to take me right into the source material. And so it's going to find me the place within that OpenStax textbook or within those video overviews where I can learn more about what this means. So if you imagine you're a student preparing for an exam, you want to ask a question and then you want to dig more into it. Where in the textbook was this covered? Where in my notes from the class lectures was this covered? You can ask questions and then go right into the material. Just absolutely phenomenal. So you do have the ability to ask questions. You can then use what's called the studio to build some really, really amazing content. You can build things like video overviews with just a click, where it creates a set of slides and audio overview over it. You can create that audio overview, an AI podcast based on your source material, a mind map where you'll see how different concepts are interrelated, flashcards, quizzes, and more. To give you an idea of really how powerful this is, first thing I want to show is the podcast. This is usually one of the features that most wows folks, and it really is absolutely amazing. Again, all I had to do was click one button and it generated. And one thing I'll show as well is you can change the output language to over 40 different languages. So even if, let's say, that course material is all written in English, let's say you have a student where maybe English isn't their first language and they want to get that output material in their language that they feel most comfortable with. Or if you just want to practice a new language, you could say, I want all of this translated into Espanol. I want it translated into French Canadian. I want it translated into languages from Indonesia, Java, and more. Just amazing to kind of see that in action. For this example, though, I'll just show it in English. And let's show and kind of hear what this audio overview sounds like. I'm also going to use what's called interactive mode, where I can call in to ask a question, which is amazing. So let's give it a listen.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you get genuinely well-informed, maybe find some surprising facts, and hopefully keep you listening.
That's the plan.
Today, we're diving into the economic world around you. Now, I know economics can sound complicated, maybe just about money.
Right. People hear the word and think graphs and, jargon, but it's really more fundamental than that.
I'd like a set of tools.
Oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Will you help me to understand the concepts of supply and demand, please?
Oh, go for it.
Please help me understand the concepts of supply and demand.
Oh, absolutely. That is a fantastic question.
We can dive right into that.
You just asked for the cornerstone.
Yeah, supply and demand is really the foundational concept.
It's the economic model we're using.
Think of it this way. Demand is what people want.
Specifically, it's the amount of a good
that consumers are willing and able to purchase.
And they're willing
For
and
sake
able
of
at each
time,
point.
I'm going to pause there, but as you can see, one, it's just an incredible kind of example of AI in action, but two, how helpful this could be. Let's say you're a student, you don't have time to read a 50-page PDF document, but you want to be prepared for that course discussion. You could generate that audio overview and listen to it on your way to campus, as you're on your way to work, walking across campus, at the gym. And if, let's say, you're a leader at the organization and you want to learn more about your organization's policies, you want to learn more about a specific concept, just how helpful this could be. So those are the audio overviews and how you can even call in to ask questions. You can also dig into something called a mind map to see how different concepts are interrelated. Again, with just a click of a button, it created this. And if I want to learn more about concepts of economic growth, I click there. You'll see it's also taking me into the course materials, creating some examples of understanding these policies as well as the citations. And it's giving me this expanded mind map where I can dig more into it to see what are the different principles of economic growth, how I can learn more about these different things. Like I want to learn more about aggregate production function. It's going to then take me into the course material about that with citations, just absolutely, absolutely amazing. I then want to, let's say, dig into something like the video overview where I can learn more about this. I'll show you the video overview to give you just an idea of what that looks like, and then I'll close out with the flashcards.
Have you ever just looked at the world and felt like it's filled with these massive, unsolvable puzzles? Well, today, we're going to show you that economics isn't some boring subject with complicated charts. Nope, it's actually a powerful toolkit for understanding those very puzzles. You'll see that thinking like an economist gives you this whole new way to look at, well, everything from your daily budget to the biggest challenges facing the globe. So let's just dive right into a huge one. Think about it. With all the money, all the effort, and all the brain power we pour into fighting problems like poverty, why do they still feel so permanent? If we all want to fix it, what are we missing? Well, it turns out economics gives us a unique way to tackle this, not by finding one giant magic bullet answer, but by figuring out where to even begin. And this is where we get a
So again, just a click of a button, I've generated this 7-minute video overview based specifically on the 5 courses or five sources I've uploaded. So I imagine I'm a faculty member, I'm preparing for a class discussion, and I want to give the students some materials to review ahead of time, something that's going to get them excited for that class discussion. I could generate this, review it, and then share it with them. You'll see there's the share button right here. Download it to use it later, etc. Just absolutely, absolutely amazing. So let's imagine I'm the faculty member and I built this notebook and I want to share it with my students. I want it to be a helpful resource for them moving forward. You'll see this share button up here. As easily as you can share a document in Google Drive, you can then start to share this notebook with others. You can even have a customized welcome note for it, and you can determine how that notebook should be shared. Do you want to give them access to the full notebook where they can generate this type of content? They can build a mind map, build the flashcards, or do you just want to give them chat only? That means they can't access the sources or the notes from it, but they can do what you saw as far as asking questions and then getting answers grounded in the materials that you've uploaded with those citations. So just amazing to think about how easy it is to build these, but as well that you can share those in different ways to really meet the needs of your organization. So hopefully that's helpful as far as giving you an understanding of Notebook LM, what it does and how it can be used for students, for educators, and for as well leaders. Now we're going to get into Gemini. Gemini is our AI set of tools, but we also have Gemini for Education, which is the EDU specific version of Gemini that we make available as part of Workspace for Education. As it's built specifically for education, it also has those privacy, security, and compliance pieces built in as well. So we go into Gemini and we can start to do different things through prompting, selecting specific tools. And so I'm imagining in this, I'm a professor, I'm a faculty member, and I'm teaching a course about macroeconomics. One of the parts that is most exciting about Gemini is you have the ability to create a custom version of Gemini for your specific use cases. We also have some pre-built versions of Gemini that you can use as well. And those specific kind of bespoke versions of Gemini are called gems. If you want to follow along with me, you can go to gemini.google.com and access Gemini, and you can follow along. So I'm going to select gems in the top left corner. I'm going to select explore gems here. When I go into gems, you'll see that we have some pre-made gems that Google has created and made available. We have information like we have a tool called Career Guide, helping folks understand potential avenues in their career, getting plans to refine their skills to achieve their goals. We have a learning coach. This is one of my absolute favorites. This is built with LearnLM, that EDU specific family of models to help us to learn new things, to take us on a learning journey as opposed to just giving us an answer. So in this example, I'm going to show how we can use the learning coach gem. So I'm going to do an easy prompt here. I'm going to say, help me to understand supply and demand. and I am a student, or let's say I'm a faculty member just preparing to do a lecture. I want to better understand how to talk about supply and demand in a concise, but as well a confident way. You'll see it's going to give me some high level information, but not just giving me information, it's actually creating now a learning plan for me. The first thing is we're going to define the basics. We're then going to get into market equilibrium. We're then going to talk about shifts in supply and demand. Are we ready? Yes, let's go. And then it's actually going to dig into this learning plan with me. So for any student in your organization or any faculty staff member that wants to learn something new, you have Gemini for Education with these pre-built gems there, ready to go, ready to support their learning journey on demand. You also have the ability to create new gems. So let's say you're a faculty member teaching this course on macroeconomics, and you want to build your own gem for those students. To build a gem, if you want to follow along with me, it is so easy. We select new gem here, and then we can give it a specific set of instructions. We can give it a name, and we can tell it exactly what we want this to do, how we want this custom version of Gemini to operate for us. So in this one, I want to create what's called a macro econ pal. So I'm going to name it. I'm building a tool for my students, and I'm going to give it a set of instructions. So this set of instructions is pretty basic, just a couple of sentences, essentially saying that, this is what I want you to do. I want you to be an AI learning partner designed to assist students in this introduction to economics course. The goal is to provide students with accurate, clear, concise explanations. And I can even start to add specific knowledge. So if I have content from my drive stored locally, I could upload that too. One of my favorite parts about gems, though, is let's say I don't feel like I'm really an expert in prompting or in writing instructions for an AI tool. You can use Gemini to help you here as well. So if we are writing the instructions, you'll see that there is this button that will help us to use Gemini to rewrite the instructions. I'm going to click on that button. And this is one of the most, I think, kind of awe-inspiring ways to use it. Is it's going to then really expand, refine, and make these instructions that much more powerful, giving a specific set of purpose and goals, giving specific behaviors and rules, as well, even digging into things like overall tone, be patient, encouraging, and highly knowledgeable, use clear, academic, yet approachable tones suitable for a study partner. Of course, if you want, you can further edit this, etc. And now, with just a couple of clicks, I think that looks pretty good. We are ready to go. We can hit save, and we can now use this gem moving forward for our own purposes. So you'll see I hit save here, and I now have this gem that is ready to go. I can start to engage and chat with it. One of the other things we can do, though, is we can start to share this gem out with others. So let's say you're teaching a course and you want to provide this macroecon pal gem to your students. You want to link that into the syllabus, you want to link it into your Canvas or other LMS environment, you can do that as well. And that's one of the really powerful pieces of this, is you can easily build these exciting AI tools and resources, but you can easily as well share those to benefit others. So if you're a coach, a leader at your organization, or a faculty member supporting students, you can easily build these resources, and then you can provide access to others to help take their learning to the next level. So some really exciting ways you can use gems to customize Gemini for you. And then one of the last things I'll show is another one of my absolute favorite tools within this environment, which is called Canvas. So Canvas is a specific tool within Gemini for Education that can help you to build and to create. So let's imagine you want to create a new application, you want to build a website, you want to create a calculator, or just something like you want to create some flashcards. You can click with just a couple of easy kind of prompting. You can click that go button, and you'll see that it'll start to build and generate for us. So I've asked it to create interactive flashcards to help students learn about supply and demand. And you'll see it's actually writing the code, which is amazing. I am not an engineer. I do not code regularly. So to actually build that myself would feel almost impossible. I couldn't write the code to build interactive flashcards, but with just the click of a button, I can. And now you'll see I can start to dig in and learn these concepts with these flashcards, like law of demand. What is the law of demand? And then I can say, okay, I think I understand that. Let's go to the next one. What is the law of supply? Law of supply is this. Okay, I think I got that one. Let's go next. So hopefully this gives you some exciting inspiration in how these AI tools can be used, how they're approachable, and how these can not just be built and created, but as well how they can be shared with others to empower the entire organization. Really, really exciting. So from here, I'm going to pass things back to Rob to dig more into the Google AI Career Ready training and these pathways for high growth jobs for your students. So Rob, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much, Drew. And actually, before we get into that and start to bring things to a close in the next 15 or so minutes, there's some great questions and follow-up in the chat, Drew. So I don't know if we just want to knock those off. So there's one about, is there any way to tweak audio video content if they don't focus on a particular element that is critical, or if they interpret something differently than you would like?
Ooh, good question. So there are a few ways, and some ways to better and even more customize that is something that we are thinking about building towards. So yeah, happy to dig more into it. Rob, for sake of time, I don't want to take away from yours. If you'd like, feel free to take it away. I can start to answer some questions in the chat. And then if it works with the group, I think we can stay for a few minutes afterwards to make sure we're getting folks' questions answered as well live.
Great. If you could go to the next slide, Drew, because I think you're presenting here. So for folks who are not familiar, and we've joined these webinars before to share a bit more about the AI training that we have, which you can see on the right there, as well as the Google Career Certificates. So as part of the accelerator, you can not only get access to the tools that Drew just demoed. So there are some questions in the chat, which we'll address at the end on exactly how to get access to those enterprise level tools through Workspace. But that's one component of the accelerator. As an institution, you can get access to the Gemini tools. And then you can also get no-cost access to our AI training. So specifically Prompting Essentials and AI Essentials. These are 5 to 7 hour courses that equip people with the essential skills to start using AI in their day-to-day. And so these are things like, what is a large language model, how to use them responsibly, how to stay ahead of the AI learning curve. And then we have a deep dive in our Prompting Essentials course in the art and science of prompting. So how to get the most out of any large language model, how to get the most out of your prompts and ensure that you're getting accurate answers and really having that human in the loop. On our Google Career Certificates are slightly longer. They're also available through this program. They usually take students about a semester to complete. And excitingly, they also have AI tasks built into them. So for example, in our data analytics certificate, we teach folks how to clean data using AI, or in our IT support certificate and cybersecurity certificate, we teach people how to debug code using AI. And so we know that in these disciplines, AI increasingly will also play a role. And so one of the features of our program is that we actually go back and maintain this content. We update the content so that it reflects the latest needs of employers, which you can see at the bottom there. So we work with 150 plus employers in our Google Employer Consortium. So these employers vet all of the content that I just referenced, and they also commit to considering Google Career Certificate graduates for entry-level roles. So companies like Accenture and Deloitte, and of course, Google have hired career certificate graduates and have provided input into the design of the actual content itself. And one thing that you'll notice if you're on LinkedIn or some other of the social channels, we are actually convening employers regularly to discuss things related to AI, learning, and the future of talent. In fact, last week we convened 75 CLOs and CHROs in our Mountain View office to specifically address trends that we're seeing in various industries around the use of AI and AI training. So I think that's one unique piece to the Google Career Certificate and our AI training program, is it's directly connected to not just Google, but other employers across the country as well. In terms of outcomes, 70% of Google Career Certificate graduates report a positive job outcome. So that could mean a raise, a promotion, or using a new skill set in their job. And of course, institutions across the country like Miami-Dade College are either offering Google career certificate or credit for Google career certificates, or offering our AI training as part of some of their AI programming, which if there's time, I'd love to highlight some of the work that toss to Antonio to share a little bit of the work that they're doing. If you go to the next slide, Drew. This is just an overview, and of course, this was recorded and can be shared out later. But this is just a great overview of all of the content that is available at no cost through the accelerator. So the content is hosted on the Coursera for Campus platform. You simply need to go to the platform and sign up. You'll launch an instance within a few business days, and you get access to our 6 foundational certificates, which you can see on the left there. Those are a little bit longer. They take students from 0 to job ready. So as you can imagine, there's more time needed to get to that job ready spot at the end of the certificate. We also have some advanced Google career certificates. Now, these programs do presume some prerequisite knowledge, so they're a little bit different than the ones on the left, in that we assume that folks have had either previous work experience or study, but also really good for students who are going into their second year at a community college or in a bachelor's program who might have some previous experience in data analytics or a business program. And finally, on the right there is those are our AI programs. Those are some of our most popular right now. They're only 5 to 7 hours and really bite-sized, can be completed in a short period of time, and equips people with the essential skills that they need to use large language models. And we just released this week. So if you're a community college that's on here and you've been using the content for a while, you might notice in the catalog, we just released a number of other specializations into the catalog this week. So things like stakeholder management, which is a component of our project management certificate. That's a 10 to 20 hour course. That's a standalone now that you can offer to your learners. We also released as a standalone our job seekers course, which is how to use AI to power your job search process, do things like create your resume and cover letter, your online presence, practice interviews, and just generally keep track of the job search. And you'll notice if you've checked out that course that Antonio actually makes a cameo in several parts to share his insights on the job search process. So if you haven't checked it out, there's a little bit of an incentive there now for you to jump in there and check it out. On our last few slides here, Drew, if you could just take us forward. This is just a breakdown. We can leave this for folks to look at. I think the big takeaway here is we teach over 200 skills across all of our certificates and essentials programs. And I think specifically what is important is that we also emphasize durable skills. So I mentioned stakeholder management before. We know that the technical skills will help get you the job, but the durable skills will also help you thrive in the job and keep your job. So things like problem solving, critical thinking, documentation when it comes to some of the more technical fields are all really important components that are intricately linked to the technical expertise that you need to develop for an entry-level role. Next slide. In the interest of time, I want to save about 10 minutes at the end for questions, but we have some examples up here of ways that institutions are using the Google Career Certificates in our AI training. But if it's okay, Antonio, I would love to give you a few minutes to share how you've been using it at Miami-Dade College, specifically our AI training, but then also I know you've done some work around the data analytics certificate.
Thank you, Rob. And basically, first of all, speaking about AI, Google Grow with Google has released a couple of courses that are very foundational that everyone needs. This is not just for an AI degree. This is really for AI across the whole institution. And this is something that also comes validated. A company like Google is putting this together. It's a great way to get everyone at our institution that either wants to learn AI or that is studying anything else and they want a foundation on AI. We have been accommodating these courses. The first one, AI Essentials, and the second one, AI Prompting Essentials or Fundamentals. And both courses have been very popular because it's a foundation. So we adopted both courses as part of a complementary to every single introduction to AI that we do at Miami-Dade College with our own faculty. We always give access through the Grow with Google platform on Coursera, with all the students have access. and we keep it also as not only as an extra benefit, but if they complete the certificate or the courses in this case, they get extra benefits from the course itself. So we have seen an impressive adoption rate overall, and we're super excited with how participants of any age that want to learn AI, they just take one course and they continue completing by themselves. So we're super excited with this opportunity, but that's only the AI courses. This goes beyond AI with the full certificates, uh, data analytics, project management, uh, marketing, uh, automation with Python, so that is relevant for IT professionals, just a foundation on IT. So we have created now the avenues to make it easy and simple for every student at Miami-Dade College just to go through whatever Grow with Google certificate they can select, and they have access for free based on the opportunity that Grow with Google has created for community colleges. And again, it's really having a huge impact and a large completion rate. Instead of just giving access by themselves, it's just how to embed it into existing courses. And also the last example is on data analytics, that is so powerful, this full certificate. We have a data analytics degree that we decided to award 12 credits to every completer of the Google certificate in our degree. So if you complete the certificate by yourself and you come with the proof of completion, automatically you receive 12 credits at Miami-Dade College inside that degree of data analytics. And we recognize the learning that you have completed already. You don't have to take those courses again. So that's the way that we're either mixing extracurricular, giving you access by yourself at no cost, or just giving you credits if you complete the full certificate. That shows the full spectrum of everything that we're doing with Grow with Google.
Thanks so much, Antonio, and for letting me put you on the spot there at the last minute. But I think it's really helpful to hear from folks directly, and you can see, I think Antonio covered broadly the two ways we're seeing institutions offering this content to students and faculty. So either as a co-curricular sort of on-demand opportunity that is fast and flexible, fits into people's schedules. So, for example, University of Hawaii system is also offering our Google AI Essentials course across the system to both faculty and to students and staff. And they are a big Gemini user, so that it really complements the use of the Gemini tools. So learning the 5 to 10 hours of skills, to Antonio's point, then gets you using AI more frequently. And then one thing that Antonio didn't cover that we've started to see emerge is institutions, both community colleges and four-year institutions, that are starting to actually embed the Google Career Certificates into academic programs. So the example I always point to is a marketing analytics course at UT Permian Basin. It's an upper division senior level course that covered high level concepts of marketing analytics, but weren't necessarily teaching students the hard skills around data analysis. And so they crosswalked the data analytics certificate into the marketing analytics course, and have weighted the required assessments in the data analytics certificate so that students are getting both the Google Career Certificate when they complete that course and the credits towards a degree. We've had a number of students say how valuable that is in terms of their next step in looking for a job. They're able to show that they can actually perform the types of tasks that employers are looking for through their Google Career Certificate, but then also have a broad base of knowledge and critical thinking skills from their degree, as well as any technical skills that they might have also learned from that degree program. So lots of examples in here. One of the unique things about the accelerator is we will start to have webinars from workspace clients, from folks who have used the Google Career Certificates like Antonio to share not just the why, but also how they're doing that, because it comes with intentionality, and it comes with some effort to make the use of these tools. And so we want to share all of the great things that's happening out in the field. Next slide. Just covered this. We'll go to Drew, if you could take us to, I think, the last slide here for me is just some information about joining the accelerator itself. So I will drop the link here in the chat, but you can also scan that QR code. This will take you to the accelerator page, which gives you all of the details that you need to know about the accelerator. I think the biggest question that I always get is like, what is the commitment? The commitment is that you are offering either the Google Career Certificates and or Gemini at your institution. We, of course, prefer both, but both of those resources are available. And so what the journey looks like is you go to this page. There is an application to complete. That application should be completed by someone with a signature authority for your institution, just to make sure that it is representing the entire institution joining. It isn't just a faculty program, but it's an institutional program. And then from there, when you get a welcome email, you'll get a really nicely organized set of communications to not just join our Accelerator Hub, which will have lots of resources, some of which we shared today, but then there will be resources ongoing that are updated there as we have these learning opportunities. But then there will also be really clear pathways for you to take advantage of the no-cost training that we talked about today and the tools that Drew mentioned before. And he already dropped some great resources here in the chat. So to take us home, I'm actually going to, so the link is sitting in the chat here, but we're going to send it over to Drew for some resources that he has and then open it up for Q&A.
All right. Thanks so much, Rob. So yeah, some great questions coming through. I've been answering a few of those. Monica asked a great question as well, which was, do we have a notebook or something that we could share that includes what was covered today? So yes, we actually do have a Google for Education Resources notebook that is publicly available. So I included that URL here. It's a great way just to kind of learn about what it's like to use Notebook LM, what that experience is. But as well, if you have specific questions, things you want to learn more about, absolutely, please do so. So if you are already using Workspace for Education today, ways that you can get started, start to utilize these different resources. One thing we would say is if you're already using Workspace, you can enable Gemini for Education, and you can also enable Notebook LM with just a couple of clicks in the Workspace admin console. And you can choose to make those tools available for specific parts of the population that you serve or across the entire organization, very much up to you. Some organizations are starting by deploying it to faculty and staff, getting faculty and staff comfortable with the tools, then deploying them to students. Some are kind of going all in at launch, very much up to you and how you'd like to make those things available. And then as well, we do have some resources as far as how you can drive awareness, communications to your campus of what this is, why it's so exciting, training and support resources to help ensure that this is a successful initiative for your organization. One of my favorite resources is this here. This is the enablement toolkit. If you are thinking about launching Gemini for Education Notebook LM in your institution, this includes information as far as the admin controls and visibility, how you may want to drive communication to your campus, information about some of the free training certifications. Some of what Rob had shared, for example, is included there. And then we even have some additional guides that you could use, like the 100+ ways to use Gemini for Education Notebook LM, how you can start to pilot these tools if you'd like to take that approach. So I'm going to include this URL in our chat here also. Just a great resource if you're thinking about how to make this a success at the organizational level. And then we did want to close out with some additional resources and as well some contact information. So if you are interested in bringing these tools to your campus, if you have questions, we are happy to connect with you. I have my email address here. It's A as in Apple, S as in Sam, W as in what, B as in boy @google.com. And we also have links to many of the resources that we've already discussed that are also included in that enablement toolkit, like the 100+ ways, a quick start guide for Gemini and Notebook LM for education admins, and more. And so we want to make sure that not only do we have great training and certification programs like what Rob had covered, as well as great tools, but that we have all of the resources and all the guidance for you as leaders for your organization, so that if you are going on this journey with us, if you are deploying these tools and these programs, that you have all the best practices and all the institutional support to help you on that journey. So this short link here will take you to a whole other kind of set of resources. And this is something that a lot of colleges and universities are now starting to do as well, as far as linking these things to their school websites, providing these learning opportunities and this information about privacy, security, et cetera, on their websites as well. So if you, for your community college, want to say, as a student, as a member of this community, one of the benefits is you get safe, secure access to this amazing set of AI tools. You could build a website to educate your population around that. And we have a lot of resources that can help you. So from there, I think that we have answered a number of the questions in chat, but we want to provide you all with an opportunity to engage with us. So if anyone would like to ask a question live, please feel free. You can come off mute and share, and we can continue as well to answer some of these questions in the chat. So yeah, would anyone like to ask a question live? Well, maybe while we're waiting, Rob, Sahar had a good question here. He said, would you use your community college email to sign up to launch an instance of the Google Career Certificates and AI training? Or would you use a personal, maybe Gmail address? Can you maybe talk us through what's the best practice there?
Of course, and I'll drop the link here in the chat. Although the best way really to have all these resources in one place, which is the intention of the accelerator, is to go to the accelerator page, but you can get access to the Google Career Certificates here. And you'll notice when you go to this page that it is a sign-up form for your institution. So your institution will launch an instance of the Coursera for Campus platform that will grant you access to licenses that you can then assign, like a library book, to students, faculty, or staff. Usually it launches with 500 licenses, and then you can deploy those in any way that you see fit. And so if you were saying, let's say your organization strategy is to train all of your first year students in AI, you could assign all 500 of your first year students the AI Essentials course, which we actually have at a few universities. I recently just learned this week. And then you could give them, let's say it's a 5 to 7 hour course, you could give them 2 months to complete it. Whether they complete it or not, at the end of those 2 months, you can pull the licenses back and then reassign them to a whole new set of students, like you would in taking out a library book. So to Sahar's question, go to this page, fill out the form. You'll notice that it'll ask for your IPEDS number, which you can look up online. That's your institution's federal IPEDS number. That's just a unique identifier that we use to track the instances, but then also just use your community college email. The one thing that I will note, and we're actually adding this to the page in the next few weeks, is when you sign up, you will also need to have a Coursera .org account. You can sign up really easily on that Coursera page as well, but your instance will not launch unless you have that. So I will drop my email in the chat as we come to a close here, in case anybody has any questions. But that should get you started there on the Google Career Certificates.
All right. Thank you, Rob. I think we have time for one more question to close us out. And this was a great one. There's a question coming from Michelle. Can Studio translate PowerPoints? I think this is about, in Notebook LM, could this, take, let's say, a PowerPoint written in English, translate it to Spanish, or vice versa? Yes. So if you, for example, download that PowerPoint as PDF, you could upload it to Notebook LM and you could build a notebook based around that PDF document. And then you could choose to generate content in over 40 different languages. So let's say the PDF of that PowerPoint is written in Spanish. You want to generate that content in English, you absolutely can. I actually was just generating an example, but I don't think we'll have time since we're running a little bit low on time. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing to see the translation power and how that can support learning and administrative work. Let's say you have a student stakeholder or set of student stakeholders you support, maybe English isn't their first language, but you want to provide them with information about your campus community, about the benefits to their students. You could create that notebook and share it to the community and say, change the output language to your language of choice. And they all of a sudden have access to all this amazing information, all these resources in the language of choice for them. yeah, some really, really powerful translation opportunities there. So if you would like, of course, to test that out on your own, you just go into Notebook LM, and then in the settings, change the output language. It's in the top left corner there of settings, and then you select the output language of your choice, and you can see that translation happen in real time. Just absolutely, absolutely amazing. So
Can I have a question? I'm sorry. Do you have a time for a quick question?
I'm sorry?
Do you have time for a quick question?
Yeah, Rob, I can stay on for another minute. Can you?
Sure. So we are using Blackboard for representing our courses at Montgomery College. Are these tools integrated to Blackboard as well?
Ooh, good question. So we did build an LTI tool for Gemini, using LTI to bring the Notebook LM and kind of gems, even the ability to build those tools directly in the interface of the LMS. When we launched Gemini LTI, we did it initially with Canvas and with Schoology. Today, we don't have the, I'd say, like direct LTI integration with Blackboard. However, if you are, let's say, creating a notebook or a gem for your students, you could definitely share that. You could copy and paste the URL, and you could put that into the course material or the assignment material for Blackboard courses. So there would be a way to do it. It would be a little bit more of, copying and pasting, for example. But that is a request that we are hearing as far as doing more with the direct integration with Blackboard. So that is something that we're discussing and exploring as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, a big, big thank you to the MTC group for coordinating this. Wonderful to see you. And thank you as well, Antonio, for sharing your story. And thank you all for being here together with us. Really appreciate it. We look forward to hearing from you again soon, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Rob, anything you'd like to share to close us out?
No, just thank you for your time today. And as always, a huge thank you to Antonio, Cynthia, and the MDC team at the National Applied AI Consortium for the time and the partnership.
All right. Great to see you. Bye.
Thank you.